Hey, hey, hey. I hope you guys enjoy these, what I'm calling podcast shorts for my Burnout to All Out community. This is just a little peek behind the curtain of the coaching that goes on inside of my programs. We're bringing to you some of the best nuggets and coaching I'm giving within hot seats of all of our different programs, whether it's our LinkedIn Method Academy, our mini mastermind business basics, all the way up to our higher level mastermind. If you're hearing some of these questions and you're like, man, I wish I could get my burning question answered by Melissa. Hey, guess what? You could be featured on my podcast. If you've got a question that you want answered and you submit it to my team and we pick it, we will bring you here to the podcast for our podcast shorts and do a hot seat with you. Where can you submit your questions? Send them to teamburnouttooallout.co. We'll make sure we drop that in the show notes for our podcast shorts. And I hope that you guys find as much value in these shorts as our clients do inside the program. Need some effective tactical advice that actually helps you get results and makes a real difference in your life and business? You've come to the right place. If you're finding yourself here today, it means you're getting ready to gain serious traction in your business, rapidly multiply your income and impact, and you're ready to make it happen while living all out. Guys, I'm Melissa Hinault, your trustworthy corporate dropout turned six-figure business burnout turned happy and healthy CEO of a multi-million-dollar online business. And you're listening to the Burnout to All Out podcast. On this show, we're serving up innovative growth strategies, simple implementation methods to put them into practice, and action-stimulating inspiration tailored specifically for the modern entrepreneur. Let's dive in.
I've been traveling a lot this whole year, so I haven't been able to focus on my business the way that I wanted to. But my win for today that I want to share from the last time we spoke was, I don't know if you remember, I think it was sometime in March. I was trying to grow my network. I started with 126 connections when I first started the program. And I was still working through it because I was traveling so much. And I think you gave me a deadline. Okay, you got to commit to this number and you got to do this. So I started doing that. And I'm happy to report that I have about 920 followers and 680 connections. And that happened in only last 3 months.
Okay.
And I wasn't even here in July. So I've been getting followers.
Did you listen in on the calls today about connections and how I was riding people's heinies about growing their network?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to jump in. I was like, yeah, it totally works. The system works.
Yeah.
I'm totally feeling it. So yeah. It's incredible.
Yes. So let's expand upon that for a minute for the rest of the group. Then some of you may not have watched the replays from earlier today. I love it. Annie's like committed and engaged in all of this. But the percentage of views of your content, no matter how many people you have, about 2% of your network on any given day are going to see what you put out. And so what we talked about earlier today is that if you're just growing your network by a handful per week, about 2% of them are seeing the content you're putting out. It is a numbers game, right? And so what I really challenged folks is I said the magic number of engagement, and maybe I'll have Annie expand upon what she's experiencing right now, is doesn't matter what you come into with LinkedIn, this academy. It doesn't matter if you came in with 4,000 people from a previous career or 200 people or one. You need 500 new connections that meet the qualifications of your ideal current prospect. Because if you come in with baggage of 5,000 people from a previous corporate career, but they're not your ideal audience, they're not going to engage with the content you put out, which feeds the algorithm to keep you being seen, right? So the sooner you can get to that 500 magic number, I encourage you guys not to make it a goal to get to it by the end of the program, but rather towards the middle or even earlier in the program, because your questions will change, because the dynamics on the platform are going to change and the engagement is going to change, right? So that was a little bit of what we talked about earlier today. Annie, before you dive into your question, do you mind just sharing like what you've been experiencing since growing your network, like the difference in kind of the dynamics of the platform now versus before you added these 500, 600 new people?
Yeah. So I was looking forward to that 500 number and I was like, well, yes, I need to get that. That's my goal. But I actually started seeing results before that. I was starting to get engagement in the DMs and interaction on my posts, and people were responding, and I could tell that they were seeing me as the authority. And that happened because a couple of things. I think I struggled in the beginning to send out my invitations, the connection request, trying to personalize it. And because I understand the mentality of my ideal client, like accountants, that's who I serve, I knew that a generic message or something that even polite and commenting nicely on their something about their complimenting on their profile is not going to work for them. So I started thinking what it is that I want, how, and I remember listening to one of your podcasts, you're talking about community, and it really hit me like, that's what I want to do on LinkedIn is I want to build this community. And so I changed my messaging to say, I'm building this community of like-minded accountants, and I want to invite you to my community. And this is what I have to offer in return. Like I share information about marketing and all that stuff. And that changed everything. Like I had people connecting with me like this. I had no, like people before that, people wouldn't respond to my connection request, or they weren't very open to it. But when I started messaging, they would actually reply back and say, yes, please include me, right? So that changed everything. And also when I reached the 500 mark, I saw more DMs coming in and interaction went up. So yeah, it's totally a numbers game. But unfortunately for me, because I haven't been present to sell my business, I haven't been able to use that activity and take it to the bank, right? But I'm hoping that I can count on it when I am ready to sell, which hopefully is soon. So yeah, that's my experience.
Yeah, thank you. And I constantly say you have to build your community before you build your bank account. Right. And actually, for those of you who aren't even quite sure what you're going to be selling or in the process of kind of building what you're going to sell, you're actually in a beautiful space because you can just build authority and give and create community with no ulterior motive. And this is actually how, not to like jump over to Instagram, but there is an analogy to this. This is why, for instance, influencers are approached by brands, because these people are just giving value and being themselves online and are creating a personal brand that when they mention something they like or they love, people are purchasing because they've built this instant credibility, because they've built kind of their own personal brand. So where I'm going with this is it doesn't have to be an influencer on Instagram, but what I'm saying is the reason these people are approached for selling products and stuff is because they've built a trustworthy brand. It's all about community. It doesn't have to be an influencer with 10,000 bazillion followers, but when you create a community around something, you own that community. That is your asset. And so all of you can really think about, what can I do to bring value and create community for people, right? Like you think about, I do the free networking workshops once a month. There's no cost to that. People come in and they're getting a ton of value because they're connecting with other entrepreneurs, but I own it. And we had over 80 people come in yesterday to our little breathwork session, right? So there's so many creative ways on LinkedIn that you can create community, and then you own that asset. You own the network. So I love that. I love it. Okay. So what are your questions?
So my question is, actually, I'm just going to quickly comment on Jill's question. She said, where do I host the community? So it's not really a separate community. I mean, when I do the LinkedIn network that I have, all sorts of influencers, I have like top minds in the industry. I bring all the resources connected to all these different people that are going to bring value to the client, my ideal client. So that's what I mean. And then I'm hoping to have like a Facebook community or networking events where I can bring all these people together by invitation and then create a space of community-like place. If that makes sense.
I love that. And that's such a great question. And it kind of piggybacks on what I was just saying. Your initial community can literally be your brand on LinkedIn and your network and the value you're bringing out and the people you're bringing into your feed. With the LinkedIn Live, you can bring in experts in your field to chat. to coffee chat and bring back. You don't even have to be running a podcast to do this, right? That is community. People come to your feed, come to your page to see what you're talking about. They start to follow you because of the value. You own that, right? And then to Annie's point, from there, you can move it elsewhere, right? You can create a private community. You can truly build community through a social media platform.
Yeah. And from a digital marketing point of view, I think once people see you as an authority, that's it. Like you've established yourself, and in their mind, whatever you say, whoever you bring, they automatically assign value to you.
And I love that we're bringing this up because so many people try to skip this on social media and just go straight to selling. Yeah. It doesn't work. Even if you're highly educated, highly certified, have every tool in your tool belt, you can't just jump on a platform and sell stuff. Like you have to build authority, right? But the beauty in all of it is once you do, it's an asset that you own for the rest of your life. Your brand, protect it. Yeah. So good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I have lots of things that I'm going to branch out from this personal brand I'm creating.
That's right.
Lots of amazing plans that I have, which might take some years, but it's on the list.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, so much for listening in on today's podcast episode. And I can't wait for you to see my upcoming guest in the next episode. You are going to love this keynote speaker. Hey, here's the deal. If you liked this, please subscribe and leave a review. And you want the latest online business growth strategies and exclusive LinkedIn pro tips sent straight to your phone? Text the word update to 704-318-2285. That is, text the word update to 704-318-2285. Can't wait to see you guys. Come find me over on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you like to hang. Cannot wait to hear how you are enjoying and applying what you're learning. You guys reach out to me over on social because I love hearing what's resonating with you. When you reach out to me and you send me those personal DMs, they really do impact the content I continue to bring forward to you. So again, come find me, Melissa_Hinault over on Instagram, Melissa Hinault over on LinkedIn and Facebook. Can't wait to see you guys over there.